drove by someone that lives in my apartment complex with 3 children, and I saw another person pull up and her put all of her car seats into this lady's car, and I thought, I wonder if she has a car. I did a little research and found that she did not have a vehicle that was working. So I brought it to the attention of everyone in the group that night and just shared it with them as a thought.
As a group, we thought, well, we could probably fix her car. We have some pretty handy guys in the group. Darren has a mechanic that works for him and some equipment, and John builds cars, and Simon's the car guy, and I can be pretty handy with tools. So I thought, yeah, let's just go over and take a look at it, and that might be a good opportunity for us to bless somebody.
So the following morning, Mark and I went over to take a look at it, and we were expecting something that just needed a little bit of work and something that we could easily take care of and bless her with. When we showed up, we were both, needless to say, we were both shocked. There was a lot of rust, and there was a bungee cord that was basically holding the tie rod together. I would have been scared to drive it myself, let alone put kids in it. And so we knew we needed to do something drastic. And that's when we brought it to the rest of the group and really started to pray about it.
Darren and I left there. We were like, well, we got to figure something out. So we got on the phone and started making calls to the rest of our group. And I think Darren, you called Matt, and
yeah,
you were making some phone calls to some different dealerships that you knew, or some people that have some access to cars. And I called John and Lisa and kind of told John what we had found out in the vehicle. And I'll let John talk about that.
Me and Lisa were in the house talking about how we were hoping and looking for an opportunity to maybe be used or help somebody, because we just felt a calling for that. An opportunity hadn't shown up yet. And then he calls me 15 minutes later with this. So I'm like, sweet, we were just talking about this, so I stopped working, I run back in the house and talked to Lisa about it, and we figured, well, let's just hop on Craigslist and see what's out there, see what we can find. So we found the minivan, top of the page, first one that showed up. So Lisa called the dealership.
Yep, so there were actually 2 that we were looking at, two that really looked good, and I called the dealership and I talked to a very nice young gentleman, and he offered to talk to his boss about it. I was just, initially we were kind of thinking maybe we were going to have to do some fundraising or pull some money together to purchase a vehicle for her. Weren't necessarily thinking that a dealership donating a vehicle was even possible. Actually, we were thinking it was impossible. Like, dealerships don't do that, right? So I called and I was just like, could you be able to work on this with us on the price, or what would you be able to do to help us out in this situation? And they offered to go down like $200 and then talk to his boss. And I hung up and looked at John like, oh, nothing's gonna happen with that. This isn't gonna go anywhere. So we're still kind of brainstorming options. And then 5 minutes later they call back saying, what would it take for us to donate this vehicle? Would it be tax deductible for us and our business? How do we go forward from here? So at that point we're just like, they might actually do this.
Are you kidding me? I used to work for a dealership. They don't give anything away, so it shocked me.
Yes.
Really wasn't expecting that.
So from that point it was just a lot of legwork, trying to find a way to get tax deductible for the dealership. There are a lot of people at the church doing background work, helping out, figure that out. You did a lot of calling, Matt did a lot of calling.
In the meantime, I had told the lady that we were thinking about working on her car and fixing her car up for her. And after the men went to look at it and decided that it wasn't anything that they could fix up or wanted to put any money into, I called her to let her know that. And I said, well, I have bad news and good news for you. Which one do you want first? And she's like, well, just tell me. So we can't put the car together because there's just too much work on it. It's just not safe to drive. But I will tell you that we are working on something really, really good, and it's better than you can imagine.
I wanted to help this lady. I didn't know what we were going to do, so I started, I was praying about it on the way to work. And I have an hour drive, so I'm making some phone calls and I'm praying and just saying, God, help us find a solution to this today. It's kind of these generic prayers. I'm like, no, needs to be on audacious faith. So I said, God, provide a car today. We need a car today. And I left it at that. About 1:15 or so, John called and said, you're not going to believe this, Mark. I said, what? He's like, we got a car. I'm like, no way. Seriously? As I'm on the phone with him, my phone's ringing. There's a line coming through. When I go to voicemail, hang with John, listen to my voicemail. It's the dealership next to where I work, which I had gone in there and talked to a guy there that morning. He said, hey, the car just came in on the trade. He goes, I'll buy it and I'll just give it to you. I'm like, no way. There's 2 cars in one day. So that was just crazy how that worked out. We only needed one. So now we get to car shop and we figure out which one we want. That was kind of cool. So I went over and looked at that car, but it had a little work that needed to be done and it didn't make as much sense to go with that one. But we had an option for 2 cars. And this kind of shows how God works. And He always gives us more than we need. So tell them what you saw when you pulled up to the dealership and what that experience was like.
Well, we pull up and at first we're like, this can't be the right dealership. Because there's a Mercedes AMG and a Nissan 350Z all tricked out. And I know most of the kind of cars that are on that lot and there's no way there's a minivan. And I didn't see a minivan either. I'm like, we've got to be in the wrong dealership. And we go in there and yeah, they've got the minivan and the funniest part is this, they're all younger guys. They're all probably my age or so, and they're all Russians. Every one of them. And they're all Russian Baptist, believe it or not. And they were excited to give this van. And we walk out and here's all these really nice cars, and then there's a minivan. And then it was like, I just don't know how that dealership would end up with that van. And I think they did because Molly needed that van. And they were able to get it. So it's just really cool how it wound up there. And God works in unbelievable ways.
I think when you guys brought the van back, I think everything seemed to work just fine, but they told you that the battery was a weak battery, probably needs to be changed out.
Right.
Funny thing is that the vehicle that this lady had, is all the problems that vehicle had, it had a brand new battery in it. And it was just crazy. I'm like, really? God, that's pretty cool. The battery actually ended up checking out okay, so we haven't had to use that yet, but if we do, there's a brand new battery in that truck for her. So.
Well, I was just amazed at the generosity of the dealership because they gave this van to us with a complete full tank of gas and they paid the transfer fees to transfer the title and everything. So that was
and the tags were
just
good
insane. Tabs are good till spring.
Right. Or put together a little gift basket. I think they should have done that. Just to have some essentials to put in the car, like some wipes and stuff like that. And then we got kind of pitched in and gave a gas card to her as well. I had gone over to talk with Hutch Co-op because I wanted to buy it through Cynics, and they actually ended up donating some money for that gift card as well, which is really cool. So
I brought it to the shop.
Good stuff that your parents own.
Stuff that my parents own, and I had all of our guys looked at. We put it up in the air, pull all the wheels, and tires off, checked everything, made sure all the brakes are good, changed the oil, put new headlight bulbs in it. The headlights were really faded, even with the new bulbs. It was kind of hard to see through them. So I took them out, sanded them all down, re-cleared them so that they're nice and bright and visible again and safe to use. So it should be good for a long time for her now.
Well, it was a nice crisp morning.
Definitely was crisp.
And it was, we all got together and walked over to her place, and she came out with her family, and I think that's when it really hit her of what's going on, because you could just
The look on her face.
The look on her face, it was real emotion, and it was very fulfilling that day just to see that. And just all the work that everybody's put through to get it done.
We live about 3 miles away from Cashwise, and she'd been biking to Cashwise or walking to Cashwise to get her groceries and to get anything she needed, and it really bothered her kids that they didn't have a vehicle. So they had been praying for one. She's a new believer, and they had been praying for a new vehicle so they could have something to drive and so she could transport her children around and everything. And so when they came out, they were, well, in the video you hear them just saying, thank you, God, thank you, God. And so it was just really neat to be able to experience that, and her kids were just jumping all around inside and touching everything. She's like, don't touch anything, I don't want you to, don't touch the wrong thing in there. And, and they were all like, all over it and just so excited and so thrilled. And it was a really neat experience to be able to watch that.
I think one of the things that touched me is that she wanted to meet us. She
Yes,
felt
that's right.
blessed that someone cared enough for her and
Yes.
that she wanted the vehicle to be prayed over.
Prayed over by the people who had given it to her.
Yeah.
Yes, yep, she did. She wanted us all to pray over it.
So
That was the one request she had on the phone. She said, first, I just can't believe that people cared enough to come out to my house to look at my truck in the first place. And to verify that it was not worth fixing up. And then second, that everyone, went through so much work to help her, have a new vehicle to drive. And then she just really wanted us to be there and to pray over it.
I was really amazed at her heart. She's looking at this vehicle. It has how many seats? She's got 3 kids and herself. First thing she said was, I have 2 extra seats that I can drive 2 more people around. 2 more people to church specifically, even. So I thought that was, what an amazing heart for her to say that.
She had been blessed and she could see how she could bless others through the blessing she had received.
And the thing is, I think, when she was very blessed that this happened, and I think that's great, but also it was a blessing for us to be able to bless her with this, because the study that we're doing, Audacious Faith, I think it renewed all of us in our faith in God that He's real, and He makes things happen, and He answered those prayers, and it was so fitting with the study we had, and just what was happening. It was a true answer to prayer, and showed audacious faith.
And for God to be the glory through it all.
Mm-hmm.